So I just cannot understand how this could have happened. And then I don't understand why Israel is responding in a way which it's never responded to anything like this in this way before. Why is Gaza? And then you had the Smodrich quotes, Elica, where he brazenly talks now last week on camera that the plan now is to cleanse Gaza of Palestinians. That is ethnic cleansing. That is a war crime.
That's obviously wrong. That's obviously
Good.
wrong.
So we need to agree. We need to agree certain things like that because honestly, it's important to me. It's like when people don't condemn Hamas, I sort of tune out because it's like, the last guy, the moment he just said he was proud of what Hamas did, I tune out of him as a credible guest. But if you're prepared to admit what very, very few pro-Israelis right now will admit, which is that some of this strategy is completely wrong, I think we may get somewhere.
It's so foundational to acknowledge that fact. It is so foundational to say that just because you have the right to defend yourself, it doesn't mean that you have carte blanche. It is so foundational to acknowledge all of these things, to acknowledge the death, the destruction, all of it. This is not what my conversation is about.
Okay.
This is not about has there been damage or destruction or whatever. The whole point of this conversation is that you're making moral equivalencies, and these moral equivalencies blur the distinction between right and wrong, good and evil. Now, you can say that, but some of these actions look like they are evil in themselves, but the entire conversation always goes down to intent. That is what our entire criminal justice system is.
But I don't agree with that. I honestly don't agree. You've just said that some of the, unless I'm wrong, you've just said that some of the things Israel's been doing are evil. Right? You've drawn your own moral equivalency. You said both sides are doing... Well, hang on. Both sides are doing evil things. That's surely the point Dave Smith was making.
No, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why it's different. Because there is one side that kills ideology to protect its people, and there is one side that kills people to protect its ideology. That is the difference. I'm going to give you an example so you understand the nuance of what I'm trying to say. Let's say that there's a room of 100 people, okay? And in that 100 people, you're told that 10 of these people want to kill your people. Now, if you were to shoot and kill everyone in that room, that is objectively immoral and wrong. Objectively, right? But you are doing it out of protection. It's still disgusting and abhorrent and wrong. Now, let's say at the same time, you know that 10 people in that room of innocent civilians are against your ideology, and you murder the entire room to protect your ideology. Both actions are equally immoral and evil as each other, but the motivation is completely different, and you cannot make equivalencies of those motivations.
All right, Dave.
This girl is insane.
In your own,
I think Dave Smith's about to say the same thing, but like this whole argument is it's so sick and it's so twisted and it's so just blatantly wrong. If she's trying to say that because at the core of it, from her perspective or from her frame, the Western or the Israeli mission is pure, which it's not, because we know that they are, expanding beyond their borders, and they're literally stealing territories and expanding settlements and killing and abusing people. That you can't even make that argument on it. But like let's grant her that, even though we're not, if we were to grant her that, that the actions thereafter, even up to and through killing and genocide, are justified because the motivation is pure, or at least from her perspective, pure, which is, again, completely just psychopathic. Like, it's just completely sick and twisted, and I can't even believe she's sitting up here and trying to make these arguments. But let's see what Dave Smith has to say to this.
own words, you just said that both actions are equally immoral. I mean, it sounds right. Okay. It sounds a lot like kind of the rationalization that your first guest was saying there, Piers, that like, well, everybody serves in the IDF in Israel, and therefore we really just got to go after everybody because you never know who here might be one of our oppressors or something like that. It's all just ridiculous logic. And look, what is the intention of an ethnic cleansing campaign? Is that an unintended consequence as Israel is floating this out? Huh? It's
not an ethnic cleansing campaign. This is
no.
But I clearly said that
I'm not. No, hold on. Listen, this is what just so wait. No, I'm not regurgitating buzzwords. I'm talking about what one of the most powerful people at the absolute top of the Israeli government, their finance minister, said. Look, the Palestinians in Gaza in the West Bank are there largely because they were ethnically cleansed out of where they were living for generations before that. So no, I'm sorry. It's just what's ridiculous.
What are
yes,
you talking
they
about?
absolutely were.
You're talking about the Nakba.
Yes.
Yeah, you're talking about the fact that when the war broke out against Israel, that some of the camps were exiled because some of them were collaborating with the Arabs that were engaging in the war with Israel, and others of them were not, which is why they were grandfathered.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to get into
750,000
this
people were
conversation. We're not
forced
going
out
to
of their
get into
house and did. Oh no, actually we are, and you don't get to just say we're not going to get into this conversation.
You're not answering the point. You're not answering the point that I've made. I clearly said in that example that I gave you that both of those situations were completely wrong, but the motivation was different, and that is how you know. And you haven't addressed that.
No, sorry. Maybe you're not getting me. Yes, I think it's completely ridiculous for you to just get to claim that the Israeli motivations are pure. I'm sorry, especially when listen, Benjamin.
Who said pure?
Okay, whatever.
Pure?
Okay, you're just breaking up. You don't get to just claim this is nonsense. You don't get to. Oh my God, you just have nothing except nonsense and interrupting me. Okay, so when Benjamin Netanyahu goes to the United Nations a couple of weeks before October 7th and has Greater Israel on a map where all of Gaza and all of the West Bank are Israel, I'm sorry, why is it that you just get to give him the assumption that the motivation here wasn't to destroy Gaza, ethnically cleanse it, and annex it, as they're openly talking about doing right now? Now, I'm sure there's some people in Israel who don't have those motivations. I'm sure there are some people in Hamas who maybe just wanted to have a two-state solution. But still, when the overwhelming motivations of the leadership are this impure, I don't think you get to say, oh, there's a major difference between, because one side's motivation is purely just to get the bad guys.
Okay, let's just pivot. Hang on a sec. I want to pivot to Iran because, Dave, you on 22nd of June, and I've obviously talked to you on the show as well around this period, you posted on X, Donald Trump's now launched an...
All right, let's pause that one for now. So that's... All right, so there you go. There you have the second part of that debate. Forgive me for being shirtless, but here we are. So there you have the second part of that debate. I don't think she makes a salient point anywhere through, and she actually comes off as quite psychopathic, if you're asking me. Logical fallacies, interrupting. Her mic was terrible. And Dave Smith just calmly, and as well as Piers Morgan, just really just pointing out the facts of what's going on and what the messaging is from the top Israeli officials and the cultural milieu at large. It's very clear what is happening there, and to deny it or try to twist reality in a way that supports it is just very, very strange, borderline psychopathic and sickening. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments about Miss Elica. There's one more part to this video we'll take a look at next.